competent authority to answer that question, and the Chief Magistrate is there. But what I must say that I have seen an improvement, speaking from the perspective of a member of the public, in terms of the seriousness of the penalties for gun-related crimes. There was a case that was actually brought before the appeals court, where the magistrate has sentenced a first-time offender to 2 years imprisonment, and that was challenged. And the decision of the magistrate court was upheld by the Court of Appeal, and on the basis, therefore, that the magistrate, quite rightly so at the time, gave reasons why he was departing from the sentencing guideline, on the primary basis upon which, therefore, the prevalence of gun-related crimes. We have seen subsequently thereafter that the last one that was brought before the court, according to my recollection, when a young man was intercepted with a 9mm, he was sentenced to 4 years imprisonment also. I want to reiterate that our gun laws, the penalties on the earth, so I was elated by the fact I was present at the special sitting of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. And I listened to the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, spoke on behalf of the people of this country and called for some serious introspection to be done by those who have the responsibility of enforcing the law, not only the police. And I think there is a sentiment, therefore, that has to be inculcated within the respective psyches of all of us who have our responsibilities. So yes, we're also looking at as we speak, the Firearms Act is law, the Act itself is before a special consultant that we have retained, former Attorney General Mr. Anthony Lara, looking at all the various ramifications and looking at similar laws. For example, you have Jamaica, the Jamaica model. And I must say, within the OECS catchment, the Jamaica gun laws are, to me, more stringent. What is required, therefore, is for an appreciation of all of us who have roles to play, to realize that that issue of gun crime is something that will define us as a people. And that is why I believe, just going back to what the Police Commissioner just spoke about, and why I actually push for greater enforcement and the need for us to investigate all the angles, all the elements involved. That is why we are brought on board with government's expertise in the areas of investigation of gun crime, gangs, etc., and forensic analysis of evidence that's been done on also, the intention of which is to find all the players, all the complicits who are involved, and let the chips fall where they ought to fall. A lot of folks come on Facebook and social media and pointing fingers at the wrong sort of people, while they harbor and protect people and they attack people who are fighting for the preservation of peace and civility. That's what it is. And because we see everything through political conceptual lens. That's not my focus this morning. Just to take back to the question that Mr. Halai asked a while ago, reference the prison population. Before I left to go across to the Ministry of Public Works, I also had the opportunity to have been the minister, the likes of Mr. Chatter, a great guy, Mr. Blanc, and there was other guy from Jordan, what his name was? Katin? Right. So I worked with all the great folks. And I can recall it in the early 2000s thereabout. And I like to reference secondary sources as a researcher myself. Understand? And I call on members of the media, therefore, to demonstrate a greater level of gravitas to the task that they have to perform, and to get themselves in more, detail-oriented research. And if we go back to 1996, for example, the population at the prison was higher than now. 241. It averaged, is not so, mister?
That's correct.
It averaged in the mid-90s, 242. The other time, there was, I can recall once, the prison was 300 and something. Yeah. All right? That was before, listen please, that was before the advent of Roosevelt Square as Prime Minister. Right? For matter of fact, in 1998, the prison population was 248. Do you get my point? And the other times, they were 300 plus. Let us not forget, because I was speaking on a stock show program, and my good friend, I asked him if you can recall a particular date in a particular year. And he said no, he wasn't. I asked him what happened on that day. He wasn't aware. That day was when we were devastated by Hurricane Maria. But we have forgotten that. If you forget, you get my point. So let us not forget what obtained before. And let us not forget that we had Maria, when we had no courts for how many years, Chief Magistrate? Huh? No, a couple months, right. But you talk about, and then when you had COVID for a long time. Now, Maria, now I can recall, the DBS is there, you have to reconstruct case files. You know something, Karen? The courts could not sit, so you had to have virtual sittings. We had to actually convert a section in the prison to a court. It's not some sidewalk. Let's get serious. The conference room, police headquarters. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And then we had COVID-19. So obviously, you're going to have a situation whereby you have less court sittings. So you're going to have challenges, especially with the remand population. Now we have to strike a balance between the public interest. And the public interest sometimes encompasses the rights of an accused. But is it in the interest of justice to release people who have been incarcerated, remanded for murder? You get me what I'm saying? So I say no. That is why the government has placed tremendous emphasis in putting personnel and systems in place to deal with the issue of backlogs and to expedite processes. So that's why in the first quarter of this year, a special prosecutor will be retained as a senior counsel to deal specifically with those kind of cases and to assist the office of the DBP to deal with those cases that are in the system and to ensure that they're dealt with quickly. As I heard from the Chief Magistrate, that right now they're giving closer dates. So all the players in the system have to double up, including the police, everybody. And people like to talk about the police, but most of the times that when requests are made for adjournment, it's not the prosecution, a number of times. So, and a number of times when you have no service, especially at the magistrate court, no service is not the police, Sometimes the situation with the bailiff. And the last time I checked, the Commissioner of Police doesn't have any authority over the bailiff. So when they have to serve us for that treating matter, for those who hide in the financial center, waiting for when they come into office to serve us, I said, yeah, what you're going to call it treating? When my good friend went and said, the only evidence they had was a statement from my good friend. And he said that when he went to the event at the stadium, and he started that, he was moved by the music. And he was shown how to make a cross, to the extent to which when he went to call you during the election, he voted for his opponent. It was the only statement that they had in evidence. So if you could have found the Prime Minister, the ministers to serve them for treating, well, you can't find other people out. You guys, so I'm saying let us be serious about this thing. And so I'm not saying that to put that into perspective. As I close though, any more questions there?
Yes, I have a question.
It's past lunchtime.
Yes, I just left track there. I wanted to ask, as it relates to the traffic situation, in the city. I know just last month there was a statement as it relates to the parking. And the chief also spoke about the derelict vehicles that they don't know what to remove them, which is very good. But the parking situation has become really hazardous in the city. And especially in the corners, people park left, right, and center. So just wanted to find out from the police what measures do they intend to take to attempt to alleviate the traffic congestion and the parking situation in the city.
Trying to wrap your question around my head. But in terms of alleviating parking, there's not much that police can do. Roads haven't got any bigger. What I can advise people is if they can do some carpooling and park out of the city. Because we have 70,000 people in Dominica and 43,000 plus cars. It means therefore some homes have more than 2 cars. And 3 cars. What are you going to advise?
We apologize for the abrupt end to this press conference. 26 minutes after 1, of course, there's no lunchtime news this afternoon. We'll have the lotto draws and then the announcement. Stay tuned.
What people cat and mouse to the police. As long as they pass, if we can move out, they put a chair. So again, we've been taking chairs, we've been taking benches, we've been taking pallets, we've been taking tires and going with them. Okay? But all I said is not right, and again, we'll enforce the law as much as we can. And while you're on that, maybe I should just add also. Okay, I thought you were going to ask that question about.
I did ask that. I know what you preempted, but I did ask that, but I thought you would have dealt with it. Go ahead.
What's that you asked?
The same issue as it relates to the notice that was issued last year, as it relates to parking. I did ask that, and the enforcement or the enforcement.
Yeah. So what I can say that we have a committee that's meeting and sitting and discussing, and very early I'm suspecting within the first quarter of this year to be fully implemented. I can say that much. Thank you very much.
I think we have to get to a culture of, as we move forward, as we develop into a first-class country. You know of the roads enhancement project, and the intention is to ensure that vehicles park on the fringes of the city and not entering the city, and provision will be so provided for that. But reference to what you asked Carla, the police operate under the laws of this country, and they are mandated by law to do certain things. And under the Police Act 1401, okay, and you can review it to yourself. I think it's section 11 or something like that. Is it 11? Or I think so. That the police have the authority to remove any obstruction any obstruction on any traffic thoroughfare. If you go under the small charges, Section 43, you can refer to it yourself, where alleys, sidewalks, roadways are defined as public thoroughfare. The police have the authority in law to clear any impediment and to take action. But if you operate under the small charges, you must charge somebody. For you also see that people put things like sand and stones on the roadside for construction. The law allows that, but it also says for a reasonable period of time. So it means, therefore, you cannot leave stones and sand on the road for 2 months, 3 months, and nothing happens. And the police has a facility on the law, the small charges, etc. And also, the Police Act says to remove, you know what the word remove is? To remove any obstruction and any traffic thoroughfare. That's going to fundamentally clear. So when you don't enforce the law sometimes, you create a culture of disobedience. And I believe that is something that we have to, but again, it's always good to embark on a comprehensive process of public education to alert the people that the police will be acting and to take necessary action to prevent what you're doing. You know, I want to just say quickly also before we leave. The Chief made reference to, as we have declared, that in this month, working in the line ministries, you're going to see commencement of issuance of driver's licenses in the Portsmouth area to be followed by Marigot. Also, I believe we're going to a point where other things can be dealt with. And things that the issue about the ministry, we'll be working in 9 ministries and for the Chief of Police to look at the whole issue of personalized number plates. Why can't, if somebody wants to have a personalized number plate, you know, all those things that we're moving towards implementing in this early this year. So there are more things we can do. And of course, revenue can be made out of that too. Do you understand that? So, and also, you heard the Prime Minister made a pronouncement of the Marigot Fisheries Complex being transformed into a port of entry. And the Commissioner of Police led a team, along with the people from the Port Authority, to put the processes in place along with immigration in place. So early this year, we can see the actual implementation of that, where Marigot Fisheries Complex shall be, a port of entry. So these are the things that the ministry will be working with, and to ensure, when somebody asks on the social media platform, when are we going to install the scanner at the registry? The scanner has been installed at the registry. What has been done now, or left to be done, is the networking. And next week, training will commence. So we are right on the ball insofar as implementing our mandate, insofar as our policy mandates are concerned. And at the prisons, you heard from the superintendent of prisons in terms of 95% and 70% implemented. And I believe that we are on the right track. And as a minister, my role is to ensure that the policies of the government relative to the ministry can be implemented efficiently and well. And there have been no more questions. Any more questions? I want to place on the record, my appreciation for the support that the minister has gotten. And before that, we've not yet from the fire chief, but the fire officers continue to excel. We're almost at the completion of the fire station in Granby, where we'll be having 20 officers, including female officers. And Lapland, thanks to the government of the United States of America, we're going to have a new fire station and ambulance station in Lapland. And we're talking about the appliances also. By the 27th of this month, everything being on target, we shall be receiving 2 additional fire trucks for the the fire and ambulance services. And one of the things I like about it, this fire officer's language, the jaws of life, right? The jaws of life will be attached to these fire trucks. What do we mean by that? Is a specialized quarter to extricate people if they're trapped in a vehicular accident. Those will be attached to the fire trucks. And you'll also be able to discharge foam, and all that we're getting. And the fire chief sent me to the pictures, and it's deleted by them. We have an additional fire truck being manufactured, and the completion date for that manufacturing process will be on the 27th of April. That is costing $1.4 million. And we, in the first quarter of this year, in the month of February, we'll be receiving, of course, the government will be paying for 2 additional ambulances, fully customized. And later down in the year, we're looking for 2 additional fire ambulances, so that the intention is to have at all times a minimum of 2 ambulances in Roseville, and the same for Portsmouth and Marigot. So we are going places in the ministry and the government by extension, and addressing by way of precision what we need to do within the ministry to advance the policies of the government and to work on behalf of the people of this country. I also want to place on record that we have begun the process of working towards the decentralization of the issuance of vital life certificates. Birth certificate, death certificate, marriage certificates. There will be no need in due time for people to leave Marigot, Tran to Casibus area, or vehicles to come into Roseau to get those certificates. So we are looking at Marigot, Portsmouth, Laplane, Granby, and Casibus as centers where people will be able to go and apply for and receive those vital life certificates. I want to take this opportunity to wish everybody a happy new year within the ministry, every individual staff member, down to the cleaner, the messengers, the heads of department. Thank you for your support, and I'm hoping to see you guys. What is it? It's Friday night, tomorrow night, when we shall be having our, what do you call it again? End of the year what? End of the year celebration.
Okay, and at this point, we will end the outside broadcast to bring on the lotto draws already in progress. Stay tuned.
And become a winner. Purchase your Super 6 tickets today.
Thank you so much for staying tuned, guys. One number higher or lower, and you could become a winner. Let's play some one-off. Good luck. And your lucky numbers for one-off are 9, 9, and 6. Let's recap. Your one-off lucky numbers are 9, 9, and 6. One-off. Win anyway. Up next is 33 Multi-X.
Picture this. Turquoise waters, golden sunsets, and you on an all-inclusive Caribbean cruise for 2. This Christmas, Daily 3 could make that dream come true. Spend $10 or more on Daily 3 tickets, Multi-X or not, and you'll automatically receive a promotional voucher. Win cash prizes up to $2,000, a $1,000 grocery voucher, or the ultimate holiday escape, a Caribbean cruise for 2. Play Daily 3 today and sail into the holiday of a lifetime. Your cruise awaits. Promotion begins Monday 8th December 2025 and ends Friday 16th January 2026. Dominica National Lottery. Everything is possible. Must be 18 or older to participate.
Welcome back, gamers. Let's now play some Diddy 3. Happy winnings. Your first lucky number is 3. Your second number is 9. And the third number is 3. So let's now multiply those winnings. And the most yet ball selected is FP. To recap, your lucky numbers are 3, 9, and 3.